everyone, and we are live. Welcome everyone to another edition of the Bread for Soul Convos. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And if it's your first time seeing me without a beanie, yeah, this is my new normal, thanks to COVID. But the guy I'm talking to will be cleanly shaven and in a suit. I'm talking to DJ, promoter, and a sound guy now, DJ PICAT the Italian. How are you, my brother?
Yeah, brother, I'm okay.
Exactly.
Under the circumstances, we are trying.
Yeah. No, it's not easy times, definitely, man. Like, firstly, on the health side, which we'll talk about, because you recently, were exposed to the virus COVID-19, and I'm happy to see you recovering. But also just in the event front, because this
So,
weekend you were meant to have a Joel there by your party, man. Ish, yeah, ne.
my man.
COVID-19, I ne. But like, what were the some of the plans for you this year?
Nobody, we're going big, my man, this year because looking at the growth for the past years. So obviously, each and every year, I always try to better better the previous year. So this year we're definitely going big. We're bringing four international.
Four.
Yeah.
Eh. Nah. But I mean, like, nothing's ever lost, because I think this thing is temporary. We just don't know when it will end, but definitely, man. I'm really looking forward to that next year or whenever. Are you planning to do it next year, or you wanna see first how things go?
I wanna for now when I LSG, I wanna check how things go because at the end of the day, I think we need to be extra cautious when it comes to planning events and stuff because obviously from now onwards going forward we are not going to have what we normally had on
Mm.
the previous years. So obviously there's a lot of work that needs to go in the eventing space and one thing I've checked, I've been in communication with a lot of international guys, so they are reviewing their contracts as well. In terms of booking, you have to make sure that the guy is going to be screened, the guy is going to be self quarantined.
Mm.
So there's a lot of logistics that are going to go into the thingy and extra money as well.
Man, actually, also, and it's very difficult because, for example, if all of these things are gonna cost money, like, we're gonna need this extra money that's supposed to be coming from somewhere. Meanwhile, no one is currently making money. No one is gigging, and very few people actually. Almost, if you were lucky enough to have savings, by now you are probably chowing the savings too, because there's no incomes that are coming in, man. So it's really, for me, I think it's gonna be a very tricky thing, but we will need to be thoughtful about a lot of things. DJ fees as well.
So,
I was talking to Cat Like Head yesterday just about how our own house music DJs, like Rona, like the fees are Rona and Feto, the increases have been very small across the
so,
years. Inter increase
so.
are very small because of the market mainly, but also because of there isn't a communication between all of the stakeholders, like the club di ikemetse, promoters by ikemetse,
So,
the DJ as
so
artists by ikemetse, and there is not like an open conversation with regards to that. But I think the Lotse
so
Baya needs to change as we go, Mfetu.
they
um
need to.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. um I want to ask you, before Tanaka, to talk about your event and your journey in music. If you could just
So,
talk about, because you posted a status, Maloba, saying due to exposure to the virus, last week's live stream has been postponed until further notice. and you apologized, for the inconvenience. But I want to know from you, man, like having contracted the virus, um, the steps like from just feeling uneasy isimolola yang like because I think a lot of us are not really aware like ra utlwa batho ba bua ka yone in the news ne mare to experience it firsthand. How does how does it progress in your body, in your system?
Hey, my man, I don't. We're talking offline, me and you. I don't wish it on anyone, on anyone, my man, because this thing is very, very serious and deadly. What happened? I think we got exposed on the last stream. On the last stream, I don't know how, but after the stream, I started feeling very uneasy when LSG. I even told the guys that were here at home that, man, something is not right, because I think immediately this thing is not like your normal flu. You know, you can pick it up from the atmosphere. You can feel that something has changed. It becomes humid, it becomes moist, the air becomes moist and stuff. And I started feeling cold, very cold, instantly on the very same day, on that Friday. And then what happened? I went out and then I came back. When I came back, I felt very tired. So I said, no, you know what? Let me rather go and sleep, because it was late as well. I went and sleep. When I woke up following day, I wasn't feeling okay. I told my wife that, you know what, something is not right. You know, because I was cold, I was feverish, and uh, I could feel that my body was tired and stuff. I had fatigue and all of those things. And then that is when I started buying all the medication. Because one thing that you can do for yourself to prevent it, make sure that you drink your flu medication and your vitamins and all of those things on a daily basis, just to make sure that you are on the safe side. And then I started drinking the medication on the very same Saturday. Later, later on that Saturday, I became worse. Like worse, my man. I started having piercing body pains, having pounding headaches. I started losing my sense of taste and smell on that very same Saturday. Just imagine 24 hours later.
Yo.
All those things I started feeling the next day. On Sunday, that is when this whole thing became worse. That is when the whole thing became worse. And then on Monday, I went to a doctor, got tested on that Monday. I think I received the test on Wednesday. 48 hours later, and they were positive. This is when I started contacting the guys that were on the live stream on that particular weekend, and then only to find that some of them were exposed as well to the virus. So it became worse, my man. On last week, on Friday, this is when I went to hospital. I got discharged. I got discharged the following day. I went in on Monday again. Discharged the following day. And on Monday, worst of all, it was my birthday. I couldn't even do anything on my birthday, man, because I was in hospital going for checkups, and I had, I think, 3 different drips because I wasn't eating. I couldn't eat. I couldn't do anything. And everything, because one thing, if you don't have a sense of smell or sense of taste, so everything becomes bitter. So whatever I was trying to eat was coming back and stuff, and it's not nice. It's not nice.
But now
even now, I could say I'm on 30% my taste bud. I can't taste properly. Because they told me that it's a process.
Ish,
Yeah.
in fact, but now, like I wanna say, I'm just glad that you are recovering from it. I was speaking to Brian Black this morning, who
Sure.
also contacted the virus, and
Sure.
he also was telling me that he was having really really terrible times, in the recent days, especially like
Sure.
not sleeping, but you are tired, you are cold, then you are
Yes.
hot, and he was just
Mm.
telling me how aggressive this virus is, when it enters the body. And you were sharing with me a story yesterday, a friend of yours who recently passed on from
Sure.
the virus, like, if you could
Sure.
please share that with us.
My brother, it's a very shocking and painful story because I think the guy, he goes by the name of DJ Cliff. I think the guy saw some of the posts on Facebook. Everyone was wishing me well and stuff, and knowing that he knew when was my birthday.
Mm,
Because my birthday was on the 13th, and his birthday was supposed to be the Monday that we are going in, I
mm,
think on the 20th, if I'm not mistaken.
mm,
So he gave me a call on Sunday. I remember it was around 11 on Sunday. He gave me a call. Actually, he wrote something on my Facebook post, saying that he said to me, "Are you an Italian? Because I know you from Zakad."
yeah.
And then that is when he gave me a call. He gave me a call, and then we spoke. I could pick up that when noises on the background.
Mm,
And then I told him that, hey, buddy, please make sure that you stay at home and stuff, and don't go out. If you need to go out, make sure that you're only going out for essentials or stuff like that.
mm,
And then I got a shock of my life on Monday when I received an SMS from one of the family members
mm,
saying that he has passed on.
mm,
Just imagine the guy I was talking to on Sunday.
mm,
The next day, the guy has passed on, and on my birthday, worst of
mm,
all, and I was not okay. That is when actually I started becoming worse.
mm,
That is when I went to hospital again.
mm,
So I don't wish it on anyone, my brother. I don't wish it on anyone. I hope people are sanitizing. I hope people are wearing their mask when they go out, and I hope people are keeping safe and social distancing,
mm,
self-isolating. And I know we want to do more for the industry in terms of live streaming and all of those things. We need to take precautionary measures when it
mm,
comes to such things. Make sure that we warn people, make sure that we communicate all
mm,
the time, make sure that we sanitize, make sure that we are less or when it comes to these live streams, because as much as we love to keep them going,
mm.
at the end of the day, it becomes like a party.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
the problem. It becomes
Mm,
like a small gathering
mm,
because most of the guy will come with their alcohol and say, "Hey,
mm,
buddy, I want to chill," and
mm,
that is how we get exposed, man.
mm,
And that is how, because immediately you invite someone in your home, you're exposing your home
mm,
as well.
mm,
And one challenge is that I have little kids at home. I was so scared that probably they're going to contract the disease or something. Fortunately enough, by the grace of God, nothing happened to them,
mm.
and my wife is okay as well, and the kids are okay.
Yeah, no, man, and thank you for sharing this story, PICAT, in fact, because I think to create more awareness around the disease, especially with people that we know closely, like, I think it rings differently than when you're only hearing about it from the news. So it's very important, guys. Like PICAT has just explained, like Rotary Batla Hura, the live stream, you wanna get busy to also just not be stressed out about this lockdown period. But it's very very important that while we are doing that, we are first taking care of ourselves, like and
Sure.
try to minimize going out unnecessarily and going to places unnecessarily, because health does come first, guys. We need to really
Definitely.
be. And a friend of mine, Sbu, actually is watching the show. Sbu Siso, from Cape Town, also yesterday posted a status that he got the virus because he's a medical doctor, and working in the field, seeing a lot of people, a lot of
Sure.
patients, also exposes him. And we were just talking about this, that I don't get why the government would take kids to school when parents who are sometimes even taking care of themselves, wearing a mask, and parents slip up, and just contracting the virus. What about the kids? Like, how much responsibility do we actually expect from kids? I don't really get that.
Sure.
But anyway, let's not get political. I reckon more music in fit, because I wanna ask you about your music journey. What are some of your earliest memories to music?
Rayaka, from the first day you said you wanted to host me on the show, I've been thinking about the journey.
Yeah.
It's like I've been playing music my entire life when Rayaka, because as early as '94 I was playing with cassettes and CDs because I had a massive collection on cassettes. And don't even ask me where is that collection, because I can't tell you, because I don't know what happened to it. And I remember it all started. There's a guy who was, his name is called, we used to call him Baba Dez. He was a close friend of mine, and he was a teacher at the time. Even now, actually, he's a teacher. So this guy will normally on weekends, he will take out the speaker and do his garden, and he played nice music, man, nice music. He would play your 10 CT, your Jomanda, your Black Box, your Alexander O'Neill's. I was young at that time on LSG, but I resonated with the sound he was playing. And he would do his guarding, but it would be like a session, because he would start by playing your soul and ballads,
Yeah.
and go into what we used to call international,
Sure.
or your Keys and Tronics, your Frankie Knuckles, and then go step by step, play Kwaito, play R&B, play.
Yeah.
So I think my ear got exposed at that time, around 93, 94. It got exposed, and that is when we started becoming friends, me and him. Started becoming friends, and I had my own collection. He had his own collection, and I remember he had belt drives, turntable
Yeah.
at that time, and we would, and a mixer. It was a six to six Gemini mixer.
Sure.
So we would mix. Imagine, we would mix cassettes with CDs.
Eh, yeah.
We would mix cassettes with CDs on LSG, and we went into turntables. Went into turntables. We're not clued up about mixing and all of those things. That is when I started going to Monday. It's the late DJ Monday, because he used to stay a couple of streets away from me. So that is when we used to go to him. He had a massive collection, and there was a guy called Sansa. Sansa had a massive sound in the location, and Sansa was more into 45s and classics. So he was one guy that would play 45 and mix them with international. So the guy was was something else. So with the three heads, This is how I got exposed when I was into mixing, into that is the late mid 90s, 95, 96. That is when I started being exposed. That is when I started collecting
Mm,
some of the records that I have. This is how everything just started.
sure. And
Everything just started. Yeah, I started then, and I remember Monday would leave me in his house for the whole day. He would just go and say, "I'm not teaching anyone. Here's turntables.
yeah,
Here's records. Here's a mixer. Here's headphones.
yeah,
Do your thing."
yeah.
I remember LSG. I would play I would play two songs the whole day.
Sure. Yeah.
I would just play two songs the whole day. Try to master those two songs. Try to mix those two songs up until they're perfect.
Mm,
That is how the journey started. I mean, around 96, 95, 96.
yeah. I mean, some people who are uh, mentors, and at that time they might not necessarily be seen as mentors, but like, um, I remember one guy when I was studying out COVID, and you know the guy, Mveli.
Sure,
Mveli used to be that guy Korez in Fetu. He already had records. He was like probably 3 years ahead of us when we got there. And when we heard Korokores ya rona go na le DJ, you know, and ne rona we ne re kopantshanyana di vinyl tsa rona. We probably started with 4 vinyl. Uh,
sure.
really four. So or mixa one, change society just like that, you know. The whole weekend, that's what you're doing, you know, really for. And
Yeah,
I think beginnings in Fetu are such a special time for artists as
yeah.
well. But do you remember your first paid gig?
Yeah, I do remember when I was it was around that time, around about 96, 97. I think it was 250 if I'm not mistaken.
Sure.
Because there's one thing about the guy that I was telling you about, Baba Des. He was a massive collector when I was young, and a lot of guys that would do the house party, the stock fairs, these gatherings.
Mm,
He was the only go-to guy at that time in the location, you
mm,
know. So if let's say people go to Monday and say we're hosting a gathering or a small party, you want a DJ. Monday would say there's a guy that I know
mm,
would call Baba Des, and Des was he was, how can I put it? He was so busy at that time.
mm,
So you would take me and say, because you love music, let's go together. And then I'll be the one who will start the party.
yeah.
Imagine around 1, I would start the party up until the next day when I LSG. You know, and
Yeah.
the small boy, I was still a small boy at that time.
Yeah.
And I think that is how I got exposed to getting paid.
Mm,
Because there was almost each and every weekend when I was Chaka, there was a gig that we go to. He would give me about, and since I'm saying about 250, 200 rands at that time. And it was cool because at least I could buy two vinyls
yeah.
with that 250 or something. Because I remember the price of one vinyl, it was going for $80, $85 at the time, you know.
Mm,
So it was a good start for me.
mm.
Is how the whole journey started.
Man, yeah, no, I love this. I love this so much, brother. And I want to talk to you about like building your own event now. Like, how did you start at the very beginning building the Italian elegant experience? And did you call it like that at the beginning?
No, 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 no. No. I remember at first it was PICAT. It was DJ PICAT.
Mm.
And then the Italian came in. I'll tell you a story about the Italian story at the later
Okay, sharp,
stage.
sharp.
So what happened in 2000, in year 2000, we were hosting gigs around in and around Zakane Quartet, you know, like your pens down parties, your celebrations, like your heritage celebrations and stuff like that.
Mm,
So we're hosting those little gigs at that time, and I was the forefront, the go-to guy at that time because everyone knew me in my location. I was a small boy who dresses well, always looks clean, So everyone I think had the connection to me. So they would come to me and say, "Hey, we want to host a gig. So instead of booking you as a DJ, we want you to be part of the organization and stuff." That is how I got exposed on Altaka. And in 2001, no, in 2002, I actually decided to host hands down party at my house. There was a friend of mine who he's called DJ Vesta. The guy was more onto speed garage. He was a dancer. He was a meanest dancer that I knew at that time.
Sure.
So he was more into speed garage, your fast, your 187 lockdowns, your don't rewinds. So at that time, the guy, we formed some sort of a partnership, me and him. And then we organized the first major gig in the Italian reggae bracket or umbrella.
Yeah.
LSG, that gig was on a Tuesday, man.
Eh,
It was on a Tuesday. Ne? I can tell you now, we closed down the street, my street in Takane. We had not less than 1,500 people
eh,
that gig. 2002, my brother. Records only, turntables only. This very same guy that passed on DJ Cliff was actually, if we're in these times that we're living in now, I would say he was the man of the mesh.
sure.
Because I think he collected massive music, and most especially soulful music, for that particular event. I remember the first time I heard there's a song by Nilo, my friend. It was the first time I heard
Yeah.
that song on that party.
Hey.
And imagine he played that song, it was around 11 at night. And the reprise of the song when it starts.
Yes.
Just turned everything off, the sound off, and the party was banging with
Yeah.
more than 1,500 people.
Eh,
And he started with that song, Hey, my brother. Goosebumps, I'm telling
eh,
you. So that is how the journey of event organizing started. And one thing that was always with me, I didn't wanna just host events that are not up to standard. I wanted massive sound. I wanted massive production. And imagine that was 2002. But the sound that we had, it was massive. The production. I remember I had red carpet in the street.
eh.
So yeah, it was something else.
Sure. Yeah, man. No, this is amazing to hear, bro. Like, cause I've always wanted to know what Ostatile Yang, and I guess, do you think that the people who have supported you, who like especially from the beginning, like do you still have some of those people coming through to the gig right now?
SG, I would say 60 or 70% of the people that normally at my events are the people that started with me. And you know what's funny? It's people who started with me is mostly ladies.
Yeah.
And we know in deep house we always say ladies and deep house, they don't go hand in hand. But in my case, I've been fortunate enough, my man, because I became friends with a lot of ladies, most especially, I think, because of the dress sense, the caliber of the events. And, I would like to emphasize this thing on everyone that wants to start hosting events. Don't I would say don't focus on one aspect of event organizing. Make sure that the sound, the music that is going to play on your event goes hand in hand with the class of people that are coming, with the caliber of people that are coming, so that some people go to an event not because of the music, go to the event because of the atmosphere of the event. Goes to the event because who is going to be on that event, who's attending that particular event. So if you have all this collection of things, just like a person would go to my event because he likes sports, that matter, doesn't like music, he doesn't like deep house, he would go to my event and say, I really wanna buy new clothes and go there.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
sure.
you'd have a number of people going there for different reasons than having because in the deep house community we have this thing of being very territorial, and it's killing the scene, man. We need to be open minded. We need to make sure that we invite other people to listen to other genres to our scene. That is how we're going to grow. Because this thing of saying house is best than whatever genre, that is not good. And at the end of the day, we are just going to bottle ourselves in a little corner, and we're not going to grow.
Mm. And I think you raised an important point by saying, you know, the experience that we've been providing to our events or to our patrons on our events, the experience, we've been limiting it to only the music part of things. Like Marona Majida was sort of sound way sharp, and you've got a dope lineup. It's almost like we stopped right there,
The
like,
event,
yeah. But I like what you've done with your event. Last year Kibone, I've been playing some pictures as well, like the setup, the deco, like it just brings another element to the event. And I guess that's why more people who might not necessarily be house music people,
sure,
but they would feel like, no, I have to go to that event because and I wanna be,
sure.
it becomes a lifestyle thing. But also the music is there. The
The
music is
music,
dope. The
sure,
great lineup is there too. And I think,
sure.
yeah, man, a lot of people can definitely learn from that. I wanted to just pass by a comment because Ralph Gam posted something on the comment saying he was just passing by to say hi and that he's glad that you are well. Um, and another guy, Molefe, he remembers that night he would give his man of the match to DJ Steve. May his soul rest in peace. Yeah, around Nidibu straight
No, no,
indeed.
no, that's true. Actually, you just reminded me of someone as well. Steve killed a night as well on that. Actually, were a lot of men of the match on the night.
Sure.
Sure, sure.
No, sweet.
And Mulife was one of the organizers as well. Because Mulife I was a classmate with. So me and him, most cases we more on the musical side and being friends from school and stuff. So he was the one actually who pushed me to say, you must do a pens down party for us. And that is how the whole idea started.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
with regards, just staying on the event, how do you decide who to book on your event?
Yes, Chief.
Because I'm sure we did the DJs a buy, Joe, and like,
Oh, bruh.
like how do you even begin
Oh,
to?
oh. That is one stressful part about hosting an event when out there. And most especially, you can understand everyone who is deep house wants to be booked in Italian elegant experience. So what I do normally beginning of the year, I check everyone that has played a role in the previous year, see how they have grown in their music journey. And then that is how basically normally I say I give a chance to so and so on that particular year. Just like last year, there's a producer in my area whose name goes by Garabo.
Mm.
Garabo. I think last year he did well. He
It
did
did.
amazingly
It
well
did.
on the production side and on making sure that his name is up there with the other guys.
Mm.
And I said, you know what? Let me give him a chance on the thingy, just to boost his bookings and boost his exposure as well. So that is how basically, on the deep house scene, there are those names that you can leave behind
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
when you're doing a lineup.
Sure.
So it becomes a challenge to say I'm doing a deep house party and Vinny is not there.
Mm.
You
Mm.
know?
Mm.
So Vinny has become one of the key players
Mm.
when it comes to house scene in Mzansi.
Mm.
So it's a stressful one, Braga, to normally select and say this one will go in the lineup for this year. Hence, I think most of the time find guys doing a tour
Mm.
of some sort so that he can have a pool of names or pool of guys
Yeah.
who can go and perform somewhere and to
Mm.
have so it becomes a challenge for if you're going to have just a one night show,
Mm.
because a one night show, which means you must just only have 8 DJs on.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole
More than
50.
that, you are pushing it.
The whole 50. I'm mad at you now. The man Arbu, you are ne, ne, ne.
Well,
Yeah.
even LSG is one of my favorites. So Ojek is an LSG. So that is why at the end of the day, some of the guys won't talk to me uh, for the rest of July or for the rest of winter. They'll
Yeah.
start talking to me around September,
Yeah.
October.
Yeah, yeah. Rebecca Yeta next year. But with regards to internationals, last was it last year when you had then Underground, and the 2 years ago you had Sean McCabe and Opolopo. Um, who has been like the darling for you in terms of no hassles and bookings? Because I know like a international DJ sometimes it can be a tricky thing to work on.
LSG in Braga, it's funny. People, and most especially people, I think, who know the event now, think that I only started booking internationals probably 3 years ago.
Mm.
Actually, I was the first guy. I was one of the first people who booked Ralph in the country for my party.
Yeah.
That was in 2008.
Hey.
Imagine.
Yes. Yes.
When he first came to South Africa, I was one of the people who booked him.
Mm.
Actually, one of the first people who booked him. I was one of the first people who booked Big Lavender
Mm.
in the country when he came in
Mm.
first time. I was one of the first people who booked Chris Kevet
Mm.
when he came in the country. I was one of the people who booked Abika Soul
Yeah.
when he came in the country. I was one of the people who booked. I remember there was a gig in 2009
Mm.
in Zakane. It was on a Monday. That gig, it was on a Monday.
Mm.
On that gig, on the bill on that gig, I had Rocco, I had Las, I had Frank Roger, I had Rocco, I had Ralcam. So you can imagine it was 2009. So I would say when I've been fortunate enough with the guys that I know a lot of people would say Glenn Bud is a hassle when it comes to booking and stuff, or he's not an easy go-to guy or an easy person to talk to.
Mm.
He's one of the most harmless people I have ever met in my life,
Mm.
actually.
Mm.
Is I think he wants everything to be very professional. So he tells you what he wants, he tells you what he doesn't want. So if you stick to one problem about promoters is that they're unreliable. So so immediately you become reliable and you become honest. Anyone is easy to work with. So I've been fortunate enough that everyone that I have brought in the country or that I have worked with have been one of my best people.
And I mean, when I saw Glenn, well, firstly, I was surprised. Not surprised per se, ya gore, why him, but I was surprised that you booked him, and he had an issue, with South Africa with his statement that he made. And did you actually ask him about it? Have you guys spoken about that?
Yeah, we actually did. You know what's fascinating when LSG? I've been hustling Glenn for the past 5 years. In hustling him, I wanted, because I know it was a dream of DJ Monde to bring Glenn Underground in the country, because he was, I think, he's number one big fan when it comes to production. So we used to talk, me and Monde. He would say, I would ask him, which one guy would you really love to host in the country? He would always say, if it's not Harry Head, it should be done underground.
Sure.
You know? So I grew up with that love and passion to bring the guy into the country. So I think we started talking, me and him, in 2015. And he was like, nah, I don't want to come to South Africa. South Africa doesn't love me, and blah, 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 blah. So 2018, actually, I was supposed to bring Glenn in 2018. And then he got cold feet, I think, around 2 months before the gig. He got cold feet and then just went AWOL.
Oh, wow. Because he knew what he said.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And what I did, I became persistent, my man. I always checked up on him. I always spoke to him. We always had a chat. And after the gig in 2018, I think that is when he saw pictures, he saw videos, he saw everything about the gig. And then he said, hey, doing great work there, man. I would really love one day to come to SA. But if I'm coming to SA, I would really love you to bring me to SA. And that is how the passion and the drive started. To say, I need to bring this guy in 2019. And we started talking. It was an easy moment because the price tag was heavy. Price tag was heavy. Bringing him was a lot of work. Because of what happened, he wanted bodyguard.
Hey, my man. When you guys came to record for Hit Refresh, that I was like, hey, the man who serious, the bodyguard, and not just bodyguards, those guys,
like a professional comeback.
Yeah, professional.
Because that was one of the, because one thing I should tell you, my brother, his agency, his booking agency, one of the most professional agencies I've ever met in my life. So they wanted everything by the book, So I had to make sure that even the security company was legit. It was they had a good reference and venues. The guy, for goodness sake, slept in the executive part of the hotel. So everything was done properly. He got business class tickets. So yeah, it was one of a hassle.
Would you say that was the most expensive booking you had to make?
I think it will go down as the most I've ever paid and the most that I would ever pay in my entire life.
Oh man, and
It was crazy.
yeah,
It
yeah,
was crazy because everything ran close to 500,000.
sure.
Wena Brian.
Yeah, no, no man, like,
Close to 500,000. But for me, I want to clarify this. For me, it was never about the money,
mm,
but it was for the love. How many records do you have of Clan Underground?
yeah,
You,
Munda, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, sure,
you know, so
sure.
it was never about anything else on LSG.
Mm,
It was for the love. It was for the culture
mm,
to say we are grateful
mm,
for your work. We are grateful for your talent.
mm,
So it was a token of saying we appreciate you
mm,
as a producer. We appreciate you as a musician.
mm,
You understand? So this is a little that I can contribute
mm.
to the culture.
And
Yes.
also, I
Because
think,
I remember when I was bringing him, I sat down because one of my mentors when it comes to the eventing scene, it's
mm,
Ricardo da Costa. So I remember I sat with him and I said to him, bringing Glenn Underground. He said, you're crazy. Why are you bringing Glenn Underground? I said, no, but I love the guy and I love his production and I would truly love to host him. He
mm,
said, you know what? That is good enough reason
mm,
for me
mm,
to say, go ahead
mm.
and bring the guy to SA.
And I think
So,
for me, PK, sorry to cut you now. Like another thing that's very important for me with what you did, with you bringing him, and similar to how Nation brought Osunlade to
sure,
his party, even though you know what after they said what they had said, right? I think I don't want to be the person who I've always been a believer in not fighting evil with evil. You know, like so if
sure,
somebody has a view about South Africa that they feel like essays like this, like what Glenn Underground said a couple of years ago, but you are bringing him and showing him this is who we are, this is what we do, you
sure,
know, and the
sure,
professionalism that he experienced here, and some of these
sure.
people like they will experience professionalism here more than they've experienced, you know, they do on their
Anyway,
regularly, exactly. And I
anyway,
think
anyway,
that also is a is promotion to our scene, you know, like what you do
sure.
is promotion, your own event is promotion to the whole, you know, deep house
Same.
scene, yeah, and it is an important contribution that you make, you know. And I
No,
want to
no,
ask,
another thing, Unabrayaka,
yeah,
just to add on what you're saying.
mm,
Remember, LSG is a musician, the person before being a musician. So you have to differentiate the two.
mm,
You know, you have to differentiate personality at LSG, talent at LSG.
mm,
So what do I love? Do I love the personality at LSG or do I love the production side at LSG? I love the production side. I care less what LSG thinks.
mm,
Understand? On first and on a
mm,
prior.
mm,
So LSG is a talented producer, but is not good personality.
yeah,
It doesn't have a good personality. So would that stop me from working with LSG because of his personality?
mm,
You know?
mm,
So that is how I reason. That is how normally I make decisions. That is how I give a person a benefit of a doubt more than anything. No, I said to myself, screw what he said. His personality sucks.
yeah,
Yes, but his production is on 11,
mm, mm,
and we need to learn from him. We need him to come to South Africa so that he can teach us,
mm,
then so that we can teach him as well.
mm.
Probably we need to teach him personality side,
Yeah,
and he needs to teach us the production side.
yeah, yeah. And actually, I'm really, I'm gonna hit him up. Yeah, I just, you just reminded me because I wanna hit him up for an interview on the show. You know, just to have a broader conversation as well behind that. Just to close the topic, yeah, your event. I wanna know, bruh, like, what's the future of, you know, where do you see the event going, the Italian Elegant experience, and while you are thinking about that, I got this thought this morning. You could actually take a couple of people on a trip to Italy, like as part of an extension of the event. But just tell us, what are some of the future plans for the event?
Braga, this COVID messed up a lot of plans. Yeah? Actually, by now, this week, actually today, me and my wife and a couple of friends, we should be flying to Italy.
Ish.
You know, we should be flying to Italy just for a little vacation. That was the plan after the event, because the event was supposed to happen last week on the 11th. So the plan was on the 17th, this Friday, they supposed to go to Italy for 10 days and just experience what Italy is all about and their culture, and try to make a few contacts, because I've been in communication with a couple of guys from that side, because I'm good friends with Flavio from Halley and Muscle. So we normally chat and talk. So he said to me, "No, you know what? Actually, we can do something this side for Italian elegant experience." So going forward, that is my dream when I LSG, to have a little session in Italy, one of the islands in Italy. Take some of the guys from the side just to play that side, and probably make it work, for future references.
Mm. And what do you think? Because like last year you had some sponsorships, ne? Just if you
Sure.
could briefly tell me, Mfeto, what is it about our scene that sponsors have not really like seen us as a viable option to invest in?
First and foremost, my man, groundwork. Do the job before you go and look for sponsors. The sponsors, one thing that they want is ROI, return on investment. It's are we going to get something from this particular event? So they need to see the groundwork. And another thing is that pay for your own artists, because that sponsor that you want to bring in is not the one that wants to bring in Glen Underground, for that matter.
Yeah.
You don't know anything about Glen Underground. So pay Glen Underground and create a lot of hype for Glen Underground and the event, so that even the sponsors can just turn a blind eye and say, didn't see that. Everyone, actually, one thing that happened to my event last year is that immediately when I said Glen Underground is coming to the country, that is when all the sponsors started calling me, started knocking, and it becomes a good one, because now they are the one who's going to say, what do you want? You are not the one who's going to say, I want this and that and that and that.
Yeah.
And that. So in this case, I would say, most especially on the deep house eventing space, let's do the work. Let's do the groundwork. Let's make sure that we put in the work before we go to sponsors. Because one, we have this bad omen that we don't bring in a lot of people, crowd, say. We are not on the scale of other genres when it comes to the eventing space. For goodness sake, argument's sake, we are not classified as festivals when it comes to deep house. But it was a good move for me when I hosted John and Opolopo, because we got a nomination for Dance Music Awards. That is when I think most of the sponsors said, this guy is doing something different, so we need to recognize. And it was a good one for me, because I received sponsorship from one of Italy's brand. There's a brand called San Pellegrino. It's Italian water, still water, and soft drinks. So we have a good relationship going forward. Even now, we're still in communication. They still send me some of their stuff. So they wanted Italian Elegant Experience to be an ambassador for the brand. So do the groundwork. We need to do the groundwork on and make sure that we sponsors come knocking to us. We don't knock to sponsors.
Yeah.
Because most of the big names when it comes to the eventing scene, they don't go into sponsors, but sponsors come to them because
Sure.
it's becoming more difficult to host events on a bigger scale without sponsorship.
And I remember, like, when I had Ricardo da Costa on the show, he was saying that he never wants to do any event if he does not have sponsorships. Even if, like, it's viable that you think you can break even or you can make a bit of money, but he simply doesn't do any big events without sponsorships. And I think it is important what you mentioned, that to put in the groundwork and really, like, show people first that you can do it on your own. Like, you've done it, and you've got the track record, you've got the videos, you've got the pictures. People see what the event is about and they see the support. It's easier. No, it's not easy, but it's easier for sponsors to look at it and
For
be like, okay,
sponsors.
maybe we could align with that event. But what's the most stressful thing about hosting an event?
I'll check. Professionalism. You need first and foremost, you need to be very, very professional. And I think planning. Make sure that you plan the event way before its time. Make sure that you can see what is going to what's the final outcome of the event. When you plan, be on the venue. Make sure that you take your mind to the venue, and you visualize everything that is going to happen on the night, and make sure when Ochaka you plan everything, because one thing, I'll go back to the sponsorship part. One thing people they don't know that is that sponsors, there's a lot that they demand. Not only when they are going to sponsor you, but even post the event. Because now you have to do a report about the event. And the report about the event is even worse than planning the event. Because that report needs detail. You need to go into detail of what happened, what are the disadvantages, what are the advantages. So I would say planning is the most difficult one. You need to plan pre and post event and make sure that you execute the event according to the standard of the event. Don't sell oranges to people and give narcos.
Small narchies. Yeah.
When you say you are going to give people oranges, make sure that give them oranges, and if they're expecting one orange, give them two oranges
Yeah.
in the night.
Sure.
So I always say put in the work and make sure that there's detail in the event.
And what's the most rewarding thing for you after the event?
It's the happiness. It's the
just
happiness
about
of the
the event.
patrons, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the happiness of the patrons. One thing about social media, one thing nice about social media is that it reminds you, it gives you memories of what happened. So it's always nice to see people sharing and people saying that, hey, last day it was nice, 2 years back it was nice, 3 years back it was nice. So we do this thing because of the love of people. You play music because of the love of music and the love of people. You understand that? So we do events as well because of the love of people. So it gives me a pleasure each and every time when I host an event and everyone says, hundreds.
Yeah.
Event was proper. We people always say, there was a guy actually not long ago, he said to me, your event in the deep house scene is one of the biggest because one of the most perfect. When you get there from the gate, you can see that the structure, but because I'm the one who's organizing the event, I always see that there's room for improvement.
Mm. Mm.
So one thing that always makes me happy is that we can improve and people are happy,
Mm.
and then we have done the job.
Sure, sure. Aitara Fetu. And so I wanna let's just get. There's no way that I can do a sit down with you and we don't talk about fashion, cause I wanna know, man. Like, have you always knew, or have you always been conscious about how you looked?
Braga, I was raised like that. I was raised like that. The thing is, the love of music, the way I love music is the very same way I love class. I won't say fashion, but it's the very same way I love class.
Sure.
You know, physically, I love all the finer things in life when I'm a man. So clothes is one of those finer things. So the way I love music is equivalent to the way I love clothes.
Yeah. Nee. I have to ask you this, like, only suit to take I'm just wondering, just like in terms of suits, do you even know how many suits you have?
No, it's a lot on LSG, and I always when I buy new ones, I always give away the old ones. You know, so it's a lot of them. It's a lot of them. I think counting now it's about 25.
Eh,
Some of them, I think it's 3 years not being worn. You
sure.
know, so love of hence I'm saying the love of music, the way I love music is the very same way I love being sophisticated, being classy, being elegant when I brag. So the elegant part on the Italian experience, it came from that notion that we need always, because I don't think, without me being controversial, but house music is very elegant on a prayer.
Mm.
Most especially deep house, soulful house is very elegant.
Mm.
So I feel that you need to dress up, listen to house.
Sure. Accordingly. And
Sure.
have you ever played at a venue where you wish, like, maybe I should not have, maybe I'm looking a bit too dapper, like maybe this is too much for this venue?
Not even once. Because remember, I don't do it for anyone. I do it for the image.
Mm.
I do it for the brand as well. Because I think that's a topic for another day. That people need to brand themselves.
Mm. Mm.
People need branding when out there. And after branding, you need positioning. You
Mm.
need to position the brand.
Mm.
And after positioning the brand, you need to align the brand.
Mm.
So I feel that when I said PICAT the Italian, actually when the name Italian came from, it was Da Vinci actually. Yeah, I think that was in 2011, 2012, somewhere there. He said, "Hey, this guy always dresses in Italian shoes, his Italian shoes," and that is how the name Italian came, and then that is when we said, "Speak at the Italian." So I have to position the brand when I buy a car, and make sure that even if I go to any venue, we pick at the Italian because of the brand, because of the position and the alignment of the brand. So I need to respect the person that booked me.
Mm.
Because the person that booked me didn't book a picket what body,
Yeah.
the hoodie, so in some other way, probably my image is going to change the image of the venue that I'm
Mm.
booked at.
Mm.
So I need always to respect
Mm.
the person that booked me and respect the people that I'm going to play for.
Mm.
So before, first and foremost, I always say respect the office. You need to respect the office. So respecting the office means that should respect myself.
Yeah, and then
Make sure that I look proper.
you've earlier in the year posted something like, now when you've respected yourself, but now the office is not respectful to you, and I'm talking about CDJ 350s, because you were saying something or I don't know or was like a CDJ A rank. I need you to explain.
No, man, it was a joke. I wasn't serious.
Okay, I will tell people the joke. If you don't wanna say it, I'm gonna say it. Dimane are akase dlale ka CDJ a cheapy ho feta lebante la hae. I mean, what is that, right?
No, the thing is, when a Braka, you have to be honest, CDJ 358, they're not user friendly. Yeah?
No, they're not.
Because they hide some of the songs, and it becomes difficult, and most especially it becomes not fun when you play with CDJ 350. So it was just a joke that was taken out of proportion.
Yeah, yeah. But there's truth in a lot of jokes, man. Because I for one don't like CDJ 350s. I actually like,
So
if I could avoid playing on 350s, I will, because the
that's
screen
how
the screen is
that
this
is how
small.
I am.
Like, it's a small
So,
screen. I can't do other things that I wanna do. You know what I mean? Like, if you're using record box, then forget about your stuff, because you are
so,
on 350s. So I think,
so
and what pains me is a lot of venues, if there's a venue, you see they've got nice couches, they've got expensive alcohol, but you've got CDJ 350s, and for me that's not alignment. Like, it doesn't really work like that. And but what sound because you've recently acquired a sound system, a nice sound system, I heard from Ralph Gam. um,
so
why did you do it? Is that just for your own event, or are you hiring it out to other, looking to hire it out to other venues?
actually, when a Braka, we haven't even used the sound. Still in plastics and boxes. It's
Ish.
still brand new,
Hey, yeah.
We bought nice sound for a good 12,000 crowd. So last year, the decision came from last year. I paid a lot of money for renting out sound system for my party. So after that, I sat down and said with a friend of mine and said, you know what, we rather invest on sound, because sound is one of the most important things when it comes to event spacing on our Chaka. And even I think there's lack of quality sound systems in our space. So if there is one, and with the caliber of the events that I do, it will be very easy for another person to say, actually, I can go to PICAT for a sound system, because I know it's going to give me quality.
Mm.
So going forward, yes, we are going to rent it out, but we actually wanted to launch the sound on this year's Italian Legend Edition. But unfortunately, with the COVID, it hasn't happened.
Yeah, yeah, nah,
It's
but
still in storage, still in boxes and stuff.
Asian fit. But are you gonna look out to hire it out to some events?
Yeah, no, definitely, because I even spoke to Ricardo. We're supposed to do Spring Fiesta, the What About Soul stage for this year.
Mm,
The sound. Unfortunately, with the thing, it won't happen. So definitely we are looking at renting out the sound.
sure. Yeah, no, man. And I think it's such an important investment as well, because, like you say, sound is actually, if not the most important thing at the event. Because how sound we see, or or if the sound is not good, you can have a lot of people at the event. You can have the best lineup, but if the sound does not deliver, and the event,
Production, I think when I'll check, I need to emphasize on this. As event promoters, and most especially the deep house scene, we need to go big on production. Because that is how we're going to sell the culture to sponsors, to external people. Because if you go for a home festival or a gig, you find this big sound and this big stage, and because I think they take the craft very serious. But with us, we are still doing gatherings. We feel that when we have a small sound and CDJs, we can do an event. We need to take it serious. We need to take it serious. I had China the last time when you had him on the show. He said something about the guys overseas, they take their craft serious. You find that when you get there, you get to the venue, there's about 4 to 6 CDJs. There's proper monitoring, there's proper production, and lighting and stuff. So we need to take the thing to that level, so that even when you are going to say ticket at the door is 300 rands, people are going to say we got the value for money. But people are still going to complain if we are not going to give them the quality and the standard.
True.
So we need to up our game when it comes to that.
True. And I'm seeing like some comments regarding CDJ 350s, because some people were the 2000 they are too. Yes, guys, don't get me wrong. Now my standpoint on this is that if you are a venue and you've got 50,000 rand couches, you should be having CDJ 2000 rands. Like, there's no excuse about that.
Sure.
If you are a DJ who's starting out and you wanna practice and you wanna have something at home to play with, there's nothing wrong with going for 350s. Go for what you can afford, But if you've been in the game for more than 10 years and you've got an established name, and at home I've got ex DJs 1000s, and they're very decent, So that's what I'm comfortable with, and I expect a venue who wants my services, if the venue, most especially if it's a well-established venue, they need to have at least the bare minimum. 2000 XDJs are okay too, the 1000. I don't like the smaller ones, but it's just also it's a preference thing, but a professionalism thing too. So don't get us wrong.
When LSG, we need to emphasize the professionalism part, because we tend to focus on the things that we're not supposed to focus on. Because CDJ 2000s, they are standard when it comes to bookings. You understand? So if you're going to do an event, you need to have CDJs 2000.
Yeah.
That is how we're going to grow the scene. That is how we're going to grow. Hence, I was talking about production and making sure that we up our game when it comes to that. So we can't. One thing that I'm going to emphasize on is that when you get a contract for someone from an artist, there's technical rider there.
Yeah.
That rider specifically tells you what that artist wants on the day. So even the venue owners, they need to make sure that the technical rider is up to scratch when a prior, so that even the DJ can do his job properly in the night. If you are going to give him a CDJ 350, most of us are not going to enjoy our booking on that night because of CDJ 350. We are not bad. I was not saying that CDJ 350 are bad.
Yeah.
They are good for, as you were saying, they are good for practicing at home if you're starting up, or if you are a DJ, you want to rent out sound and stuff. It's good for that. For established venue owners, established venues, we need to have CDJ 2000 standard.
No, standard. Technical rider gets
Just
technical
imagine
rider.
there's a friend of mine who have a venue in KZN. That venue is not operating. Actually, you, Ralph, were supposed to go there around April, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Those guys, they already bought CDJ 2000. The place is not running.
Mm. Mm.
Place is not running. They have a 2000 Nexus mixer and 2000 CDJs.
Mm.
So it tells you that they are serious about the eventing space, or the quality and the professionalism that they're going to give out the artists that are going to book. So we need that very same mentality across the board.
Mm.
When Brian,
Yeah. Mm.
yeah,
And the thing, yeah, technical writer also. Let me, if you are doing an event, if and you are an event promoter, DJs also, like, how well, and let's say you booked me and I came to your event and I enjoyed the experience. The next time you wanna have Ralph come, you gonna speak to me and say, "Hey man, I'm trying to get Ralph come," or Ralph come will call me, say, "You played at this venue, they're asking for a booking. How was it?" And I'm gonna say, "Man, they've got a nice sound. They've got CDJ 2000. They take good care of you," and that adds, because sometimes you wanna negotiate with artists. It becomes
sure,
easier when somebody's negotiating with me about a fee. It's easy for me to go down a bit down on my fee if I know I'm gonna have a good experience. But you wanna
yes.
negotiate, cut the fee, and you wanna give me CDJ 350 with a Behringer mixer? No, man. Yes, yes, yeah. That's
No, another thing when LSG, if people can understand what it takes to book an international, what those guys want from their technical rider, I'm telling you, most of the promoters we have on the street will just retire. Because one then wanted Pioneer EFX or something like that, wanted a rotary mixer, wanted four what you call CDJ 2000s. He wanted two turntables. Imagine the guy is not coming with any records, any vinyls, but he wanted turntables to be there because it's professionalism, on Brian. Immediately, you are going to take a photo of that booth. He's a professional, an international guy. So it needs to look very professional. You understand? So imagine if I book then and then I have CDJ 350 there.
yeah,
Understand?
yeah,
So it doesn't work when Brian.
yeah.
We need to take the craft serious. We need to take, and most especially, I won't talk about any other genre. I'm going to talk on the house scene. We need to take our scene very serious so that we can grow. We won't grow if we are making excuses for everything that we come across or everything that we do. So it's time that we take responsibility and be very professional about whatever we want to do and want to achieve.
And guys, like, to be honest, like, with 3,000 rands or 4,000 rands, if you, depending on how big your event, you can hire CDJ 2000. It's very simple. You don't need to own them. You don't need to own the stuff. If you can't afford to buy the stuff for yourself, for and you wanna be a promoter, you can really hire the stuff. Out. It's really, it goes without saying. Like, Louis Vega doesn't play without a rotary mixer. He doesn't. It doesn't even. It's not a negotiation. It's not a
Sure.
no. Zama zama no. Efela mo rotary mixer or nothing.
And Louis Vega needs monitoring system that is big, a big sound enough to host a small gathering.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen DJ Nation go pre-party ya jo. The manager, the monitoring. Yeah, like you say,
Yes.
ke party ya na rona go ka se re ka itshuna. Wan tlhalo hai. Definitely, definitely. But to
Sure.
Picket, just in closing, I wanna say to you, bro, like, I really admire Spanish Sahajo, event Yahajo, and the efforts that you put in towards your event. It's a very important contribution to our scene as a whole, and also NFL and to, like, people like Zidane, like
Sure.
Nation with this
Sure.
pre-party does the same.
Sure.
We house Sundays,
Bo-
Mbuso as well in Durban,
Sure.
and a lot of other
Bo
guys.
Mbizo
Yeah,
as well.
Mbizo
Yes.
as well.
Sure.
Bo Lenyora go
Sure.
Newcastle.
Sure.
Tofi too. He's got his music in me
Sure.
event. So it's all of these things. They do play a role into growing our scene. They do, like, actually
Sure.
make, they hold the scene. Because without those specialized deep house events, yes, the weekly stuff the sharp all its own, but it's like it's not the same experience. Like how dala at a place as the only deep house DJ, and you've got on the lineup various sounds on the lineup. It's not the same experience, So events like yours, Brayaka, like they really hold the scene, and I'm really grateful for Spanisos Chunang with your event. So thank you for that.
No. Thanks, Braga. The only thing that we lack for South Africa is the unity part when it comes to promoters, Braga. So I feel you check event Swanalibo Southport Weekender. Southport Weekender is basically all the promoters coming together and doing one massive festival. So I think with all the names that we have called out today, we need to unify and make sure that we come together and do one massive festival for the house scene. You understand? So alone, I won't be able to host 10 international artists. But actually, what I wanted to do this year was wanted to do the Italian experience to be a three day extravaganza, basically for Friday and Saturday and Sunday. So I wanted to bring in this night on a Sunday, just to make sure that we grow this thing. We not concentrated, or we don't concentrate on one field only, but we grow the industry, we grow the culture as well into something big, because we need to come together and make sure that all those minds that you have mentioned now have something on the table. You have your crowd in Mafeking. We need to have every province to be represented and make sure that we do one festival that can host one of the biggest deep house festival in the world. So South Africa is the hub. All these international artists, they love to come to South Africa, but we need them in one space. We need them in one venue. We need to do festival that can host Larry Chandler with Larry Head, Louis Vega, and all the guys in one venue. Because I feel South Africa has the support. Has the support when it comes to house music, do such a thing. One head won't do it, but if we come together as the unit, we can do it.
Yeah, man, definitely. And also another thing I think worth mentioning is that sometimes how Hartswere, when you have brought somebody, and if someone actually has the time to stay in the country for maybe a week or 2 weeks, then it can become easy to have, them in Cape Town. If people in Cape Town might not be traveling to Johannesburg for your event, but you and the guys back at Cape Town can kind of work out how can we share the cost, it's a hadi money, so that we can both benefit in it, and you've got a crowd that's not in competition with your event too, and I think that's also part of the unity that I've seen happening, and I also wish to see it happening a bit more, going into next year, because things, like you say, things are gonna be different. Things might be very difficult for us, so we need as much unity as possible. We need more of each other.
They are going to be very difficult when I say hope, because we had a web seminar with Gauteng Tourism, I think last week, if not week back. They were telling us how we're going to go forward with the eventing space. Ideas that were shared there. I don't think a small mind can comprehend when prior. So we need to up our game. We need to think outside the box, because events that we are normally accustomed to are not going to be the very same. We're going to have a different, because now when you go to an event, the first thing that you're going to before you say, here's my ticket, you're going to be screened,
Mm,
you're going to be tested.
mm,
You know,
mm,
so that's how the eventing space is going into. So
mm.
we need to think outside the box going forward.
For sure, bro. No, and also, Feto, thank you so much for joining me and having a chat. You know, I really do appreciate it.
No. Thank you for having me, Brian, and thank you for exposing me to your listeners as well. And I truly appreciate it, my man.
Hola, hola. As a visual, you are it.
It's a black and
As
white.
a black and white. No, guys. If you enjoyed the chat, also if you learned something from it, thank you. Please also comment and tag other people who might learn and enjoy the conversation. You know, but most importantly, also share the video so that the show can grow. More people can see what we do every morning, Monday to Friday, from 9 a.m. And I'm really like I'm humbled by the responses that I've been getting, you know, like about the show. Many people have been sending me messages, and for me, it's humbling to see that so many people are getting into the show, because I wanna. I'm also learning from it. I get this when I pick it in to like yesterday. Get this cat. Even though the conversation might seem like the structure is the same, but I learned different things, and I think it's such an
Different things,
important thing
sure.
for us to learn from one another as much as possible. That's how we grow as people. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Enjoy your weekend. I'm looking forward to having a restful weekend, because I am fit. I wanna have Friday if it's on. Ke lapile ntho e
Sure,
nngwe jo, because yeah, I in normal di show, but I love it so much
sure,
nonetheless. Yeah, yeah.
sure,
Anyway, guys,
sure.
thank you so much for watching. Like I said, please share the video, more people can watch it, and let's remember to stay creative. Peace out.